is comedian Jimmy Pardo, and he's right here with us. It's good to see you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
One of the first guys to get in on the podcasting.
That's right.
How long have you been doing it now?
2006. What is that? 18 years we're in. Yeah. They say I'm a pioneer. That's what they call me, Chick. A pioneer.
That's right. You were out there with your torch and your long sword breaking through the brush.
Right, through the brush of podcasting.
That's right.
The Davy Crockett hat.
We all made fun of you back then.
Everybody made fun of me.
He's doing a what?
Oh, how's your little... Conan used to make fun of me every day at work. You doing your fake radio today, Jimmy?
And guess what he's doing.
Yeah, guess what you're doing, pal?
Yeah.
There you go.
How's your fake radio, Conan? He's doing very well.
Yeah.
Your podcast with Conan is absolutely hilarious. That's my favorite. You and Conan, when he came on your podcast.
Oh, thank you very much.
That is so funny.
Seems like you're complimenting him more than me, but thank you, Paul.
No, you guys were great together.
I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
You teased him.
We had a very Carson Rickles relationship, he and I. We still do. It's neither of us has died.
Oh, I hope not.
No, not that I'm
Sitting
aware
right
of.
there.
I know one of us hasn't. Yeah. But yeah, we very Carson Ricklesy, Conan and I, and fun.
When you worked on his late night show,
yes, sir.
Were you ever absolutely starstruck by a particular guest?
Not really. I had the greatest story is when I met Mel Brooks. I never met Mel Brooks, and I insisted that I meet Mel Brooks because he's one of all of our heroes.
Yeah.
And just coincidentally, we had a mutual friend. He was friends with a character actor named Lee Delano, and Lee was in a lot of his movies. And he was a friend of my father-in-law's, Walter Koenig's. And so I knew Lee from various family functions. And so I go into Mel Brooks's dressing room and to introduce myself, and he sits down and we start talking like we're just two comedians. And I'm talking to Mel Brooks, and I said, "Oh, by the way, we have a mutual friend, Lee Delano." He goes, "Oh, Lee Delano! Can you believe Lee Delano, Jim?" And then he grabs my hand and he goes, "Oh, I just saw Lee was over at Sid's house. Have you seen Sid? Have you been to Sid's house? Sid Caesar?" I go, "No, I don't hang out with Sid Caesar, man." And he goes, "Oh, if you get a chance, go say hello to Sid. I know he'd like to see it." He doesn't know who I am.
I know he'd like to see it.
So then he starts telling me Sid Caesar stories and Lee Delano stories. And so then he tells me a long story about Lee Delano, which is great that I won't bore you with. But with him barging in on the Charlie's Angels set and ruining a take of Charlie's Angels, he walks in and he goes, "Where's Lee Delano?" And he ruined it. So he's telling me this whole story. And then Star Trek, I'm a little like, I don't want to say a word because it's Mel Brooks, right? Yeah. So he's talking, and it's wonderful. And then it's over. And then I leave. He goes and does his segment with Conan. He comes back. He goes into his dressing room to gather up his things, and he leaves. And as he's walking out of the green room, he leaves by everybody, but he turns around and he goes, "Pardo!"
Yeah, that's awesome.
And gives this big yell to me. Everybody looks like, "What was that about?" I go, "It's Mel Brooks having fun. That's what that's about."
That's right.
Wow.
So to me, to this day, maybe the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah. That is fantastic.
Yes, very wonderful.
Any musicians that ever you encountered because you were working with Conan?
Well, Daryl Hall was a great one. I had the opportunity to sing along with Daryl Hall. We did a Pardo Patrol, which was my web series for Conan, and where I would barge into their dressing room and just start grilling them. And with him, I just went in there and started singing Sarah Smile. And he's like, "Well, let's do it in the right key, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then he starts playing it, and then all of a sudden, I'm doing a duet with Daryl Hall, which about 10 seconds of it made it onto the web series, but we did the entire song, which was unbelievable.
No
I
kidding.
didn't realize you were a singer.
I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not, but I was. If I get a chance to sing with Daryl Hall, I'm going to do it.
All right.
Yeah, one could say he's been carrying notes for years, but
That's
seriously.
true.
There's talk of Oates and I going on tour based on just this little clip. That's how strong.
Oh, wow. That's
very
exciting.
That's
Yeah.
something.
Keep an eye out.
He's looking for something to do.
He's looking. He's got a new album out.
Yeah, Daryl's doing okay. He's got his own show.
The other one was Bob Newhart. I had a pleasure of when I walked into Bob Newhart's dressing room because again, one of my heroes. I wanted to meet him. He was to the left, and I didn't see. I didn't see him, and I saw his daughter was in there. And for whatever reason, I just chose to walk up to his daughter and pretend that like I thought she was Bob Newhart. And so I went, "Bob, I just got to tell you, I love it. The sitcoms and this." And over in the corner, laughing harder than anybody, is Bob Newhart.
Oh, that's great.
Like he got it. He understood the bit. He's, what a joy, Jimmy. And then, so again, I'm very privileged, very lucky that I had those opportunities.
Yeah.
The other one thing, I know I'm filibustering, but when I met Tom Hanks, I walked into his dressing room, and he said, he goes, "Oh, nice to meet you, Johnny." And I go, "Jimmy." And he goes, "Johnny." Yeah. And he kept talking about me the rest of the day, going, "You know, when I met Johnny," and clearly knowing my name, which is like, that's it. Like, you want to be able to riff with these guys that you think are hysterical. And just. Very, very lucky. Very great experiences.
Were there any people that you were told, hey, look, don't get near him there?
Morrissey from the Smiths.
Oh, yeah.
I could see him being a little sullen.
He had a handwritten note on his door that said, on his dressing room, Morrissey, and then he wrote in magic marker and then underline, only, underline.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, Morrissey, we get it. No, first of all, nobody's coming in. Second of all, right? I mean, it's, and who else did they say to stay away from? Nobody else really. Not to me anyway. Maybe they told other people to stay away from folks, but nobody else. Jimmy, nobody puts Pardo in a corner.
No.
I talk to whoever I want to.
Now, Jimmy, you worked for a major label for a while.
I did work for MCA Records in the 80s.
Did you maintain any friendships with those bands?
Do I have any friendships with those bands? From MCA? No. But back in those days, I worked, Bobby Brown, who you mentioned earlier, was at a function once where I couldn't shake him. He wouldn't leave me alone, Bobby Brown.
Did he think you were holding?
I don't know what it had to be that.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Hey, you're a record executive. You got to be holding.
I got to be
right?
having a little something.
Yeah, that's right.
But I guess I don't know what it was. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Hey, I'll come with you. Leave me alone.
No, they thought you were holding them. Did you ever work with Skinnerd?
No, I never had the opportunity to work with them. No, they were. I don't think they had anything out during that little era.
Because they got a song working for MCA.
That was prior to my time.
That was in the 70s.
You know, Jimmy's fast friends with practically all the guys in Chicago.
I'm
I'm
friendly with the guys in Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm friendly with Tommy Shaw of Styx, who came on our Parkastathon one year, and we've become friends. And try as I might, I try to be friends with Kevin Cronin. He just doesn't seem interested.
That's
He's as kind as
He's the nicest man in the world.
I love that story.
He loves us. We played basketball with him.
I know.
I wonder why he doesn't like you. Maybe you're not tall enough.
Isn't he from your hometown?
He's from my hometown of Hometown. We grew up. We both grew up in Hometown. He grew up on Costner. I grew up on Corcoran.
Did you know that story, Pat?
Yeah, I love it.
The hometown? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, Kevin, when I met him backstage at a show in Thousand Oaks, Kevin and I said, "Oh, Kevin, we have something in common. We both grew up in Hometown. Is that right?" And he walked away from me.
He walked away. Is that right?
Yeah.
Walked away.
That said, he came on my podcast during the lockdown, and he was an absolute, to quote my wife, that guy's a GD delight.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Isn't that how you want to be known, as a GD delight?
Absolute delight.
Oh man, was he great?
Yeah.
Just talking about his career, and then he sang some songs, and then speaking of basketball, we talked about horror, like we talked about just a person.
Yep.
To me, he was just like he's a dad who happens to be a rock star. That was my takeaway.
Another cool thing about him. This is sort of odd. He has started to take singing lessons.
Oh, that's interesting.
And, and he's probably 70-something.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, he's
just to keep it like we said.
And adjust.
He found out that I'm not sure the biology of it or whatever, the anatomy of it. He found out he was singing improperly, started taking lessons, and he's singing better than ever.
Wow.
Which
that's great.
We saw him last year, Oliver and I. We saw REO and Styx together, and a great show. That's a great feeling.
Every song's a hit.
Every song's a hit.
You forget how many hits REO has.
And then you throw in Loverboy, who opened. Every song, that's 3 hours of hits.
Yeah.
All right.
That's fun.
The hits keep coming. Well, we're sitting here talking with Jimmy Pardo. Are you still playing poker? Were you the card player? Who am I confusing you with?
Anybody else?
Okay, sorry.
I think
Kostaki, maybe?
I think
was it Kostaki?
Henry Phillips, maybe.
Oh, maybe Henry.
Henry Kostaki. These guys all
yes.
play
I'm
cards.
sorry, because you guys were talking about Henry
I was talking
Phillips.
about Henry
That's where I'm
playing
getting
cards
it.
with Sarah Silverman.
No,
Yeah,
I don't.
You're not a poker guy.
I welcome the game if anybody invites me. If you want to take my money, I'll go for the hang.
Here you go, yeah.
But no,
Are you a good player?
No.
Oh.
Do you know when to hold them?
And when to fold them,
Yeah.
Pat.
Yeah, you darn
Well, I'll know when to walk away when need be.
Yeah.
Sometimes I got to run.
You thought that